This is my midterm debriefing for EDTC 6332 Practicum class for the fall of 2015. My name is Marie Denany Lotta, and my e-learning course is a beginner course in researching family genealogy. While this may sound like a how-to type of course, the content and subject of researching one's family genealogy actually can be quite daunting. And while many begin this task, only a fraction will go on to effectively master this rewarding experience effectively. There are numerous genealogy websites that offer so many various and even times different services for free on a limited time basis or for a premium price. In the past and even now, people interested in researching their family history hire genealogists to do this for them. Now, while most historical, archival, and government records have moved to creating digital records of their documents, most any individual can do this task on their own with little more than an internet access, computer, and printer, and maybe a few more tools. What is the ultimate goal of the project within the time frame of this course? Tell the class what you plan to accomplish by the submission due date. My course is designed to help learners beginning family research develop foundational research skills. The course will start learners on a rewarding journey of discovering their roots without being overwhelmed. The learners will be taught how to properly fill out a family tree chart, how to properly record and organize information, what is the basic terminology, definitions, and files utilized, and how to add digital files, photos, and records to your family tree. In the past, some individuals collected valuable heirlooms, artifacts, documents, and photos and kept these in scrapbooks or other precious formats. At times, these documents or even photos were difficult to copy or duplicate. On occasion, some were lost or destroyed due to accidents, fires, or some other tragic circumstance. At times, these collections could not be easily shared with other family members or others who were interested in the content. One of the largest online groups are those individuals utilizing the resources of digital repositories for genealogical research. It has almost gotten to the point where content curation will be vital to ongoing research. What does the instructional solution look like now? Is it taking shape? What does your end product look like at this point? I began the course I developed within the Blackboard CourseSite's LMS for Learning Management System. As you can see by this graphic illustration, I utilized the standard class format, as I believed it was best for what I proposed to cover when I developed the pertinent performance objectives for this course. I believe to guide or instruct the learner to be able to independently research their family genealogy. They must learn and develop an understanding of the terminology and requirements genealogists developed years ago, because that is what is available in these online repositories. These sources can be helpful, but like when you do a Google search today that is too basic and encompasses too many possibilities, you can be totally overwhelmed with what you get back. As you can see, I inserted a screenshot of my class menu, which has the basic elements of my lessons and what they include. I have the typical syllabus, lessons with introductions, the actual lesson, a video presentation, discussion forum questions, assignments, and quizzes. I also included quite a number of forms, fillable PDF documents, and other guides. A task for developing this course has been to deliver the instruction in the manner I wanted to, so that I was not simply doing the typical step-by-step tutorial, but actually describing or defining the why and what for of the process, so that the learner can pick up the research and actually be able to not stumble or hit a roadblock when he or she happened upon something out of the ordinary. Many of these learning experiences happened to me a while back, and I was just recently questioned about what I did, how I learned, and about how someone could learn this on their own. In Lesson 1, I addressed the variety of terms utilized in order to get started in this vital research. This is a sample clip from my Lesson 1 and some of the background information that I had there. Despite debates on the condition and definition of family in recent years, genealogy research, even as a hobby, has experienced explosive growth. It has been said that these individuals that search for their roots experience an empowering and healing effect from the process. We all have individual situations that make our family history unique as well as exceptional. Long ago, genealogists began to utilize similar records, charts, documents, and forms in researching family stories and then creating family histories. Most were shared with others, and they began to develop consistent layouts. In order to best utilize the information you need to maintain this format, the format is read and processed in the GEDCOM files you will use to share your information and to connect with other family members and extended family branches of your tree. You may not believe that you will do that, but most family historians started out small and ended up many generations into the past. In order to understand how to complete these forms, you need to learn the basic terminology used in the forms. On this slide, I have placed a source summary for family information and a family group record. These forms are always similar but are not exact in format. You can print these forms out to fill, mail, or give to someone else in your family to complete. I have made fillable forms available for you in the course content folder, as well as in the section where I describe how to complete these forms. These do ask for pretty self-explanatory information, the starting points of a family tree, full names, maiden names, date of birth, date of christening if available, date of marriage, date of death, the places the events happened, and cemetery name, church name if applicable, names of previous wives or husbands, the names of children, and their individual information. Later, you can place the number of the ancestral chart and or the family unit number. Since wills or probate information may be source of some of these records, there are places to record that information as well. Some records can leave out some of this information or the place to record it. In the source summary for the family information, you list and document where you got this information. Historically, we got older records from microfilm and in physical repositories that house these types of information, so there are places for that type of record. There is a legend in the upper right-hand corner that lists initials or abbreviations used and what they mean, such as L for land or O for obituary. We can find a lot of information about someone in a printed or online obituary. Let us begin with the vocabulary we need to understand. Ancestor, a person from whom one is descended. Genealogy, the science of studying about our ancestors through names, dates, and events. Family history, another name for genealogy that goes beyond getting the names and dates of ancestors. Family historians try to find out life stories and little interesting details about their ancestors, such as what color of eyes they had or what kind of jobs they worked. Generation, the average span of time between the birth of parents and that of their children, approximately 20 to 25 years. Timeline, a way of charting historical events and dates, often including places. I have a timeline of my maternal grandmother pictured above in the center. The timeline shows her birth and where. It next documents her arrival in the United States. It documents her marriage to her husband, my grandfather, and where, and so on. Record, a written account of a very important life event such as a birth, marriage, or death. Pedigree chart, a chart that indicates a person's descent. The chart on the right is my pedigree chart. Compiled record, a record usually in book form consisting of information that has been gathered from original records. Other compiled records and verbal testimony. Examples include books about families. Original record, a record created at or close to the time of an event by an eyewitness to the event. For example, a birth record by the doctor who delivered the baby. The document above, below the vocabulary, is an original record. It is the death certificate of my maternal grandfather. Given name, a person's first name. Surname, a person's last name or family name. Maiden name, a female's surname at birth. Pedigree, an ancestral line or descent. Paternal line, the line of descent on a father's side. Maternal line, the line of descent on a mother's side. Archive, a place in which public records or historical documents are preserved and researched. Unlike a library, archived records cannot be checked out, but can be used in the building. Census, a count of the population in a specific place, such as state or country, a record made of the count. Enumerator, a person who counts. In the case of the census, it is the position filled by a person counting the residents of a particular assigned area. Soundex, an index for the census that is coded by the way a name sounds in addition to its actual spelling. Here I have two census forms attached to my family tree. The 12th census is from 1900, and this page contains my family ancestors and document where they were living on the date of that census, which was in Bolivar, Missouri. The other section is from a 1940 census in Brownsville, Texas. Naturalization, the process by which the immigrant becomes a citizen. Immigration, the process by which a person leaves the land of his or her birth to obtain citizenship or live in another country. Above I have two documents that I discovered in the federal government databases of immigration and naturalization. These documents are records of my maternal grandmother's arrival in the United States at the border here. It states that she took a ferry, accompanied by her father, on July 10th, 1915, at the age of 16, and that the United States Department of Labor gave her permission to work. There is handwriting on the back of the card that states U.S. CIT card number 211806, issued, marriage certified, some unrecognizable word, showing marriage to Marion Hahn, U.S. citizen, 2/26/21, the date my grandparents got married. I had previously heard that my grandmother immigrated from Mexico following a dreadful smallpox epidemic that wiped out most of her family, except for a sister that I saw briefly when I was quite young, and who preceded my grandmother's death by a number of years. I think that's all we have time for, so I'm going to get back to what my course sites includes. I included the basic information in an instructor contact information form. Even though I address most of these forms in some detail throughout the course lessons, I also uploaded and stored all the forms and charts I speak about in a folder for the student, shown here. This is a screenshot of some of these forms, records, and charts. These are two key documents in the process of researching your family history, the family group record sheet and the pedigree chart. I present how to fill out these in the course. Many times people want to represent their family tree in some type of design or chart. The problem with this is that you need the pertinent information in order to do this correctly and effectively. The first graphic is a fillable family tree design, and the second is a fillable pedigree chart in the fan design format. In order for the learner to develop an understanding of the process, I provided a number of vocabulary lists for the specific terminology addressed in the particular lesson, like I showed in that clip from my lessons. They're in the repositories. They refer to a compiled record, which means a record, usually in book form, consisting of information that has been gathered from original records, other compiled records, and verbal testimony. And then the original record, a record created at or close to the time of the event. One way that I developed interest in the subject quite a number of years ago was when my paternal relatives sent requests for information in a fillable PDF format. I present to learners the manner in which this idea can help expedite which was once an arduous process, and explain the way to do this themselves. An extremely important and much easier way to collect and curate family photos and video today can and should be included with the family genealogy research. New trees and sites allow for digital artifacts to be attached to the individuals within the family tree. These files and formats include records, usually in the form of JPEG files or PDFs, photos, scans, and other recorded formats such as audio files and various formats of video files. In Lesson 2, I addressed the why, how, where, and other important questions about creating and storing a digital family history that can be attached to your family tree. In order to address the third question, what lessons have you learned? I would have to say that number one, I learned that I spent way too much time doing my task analysis wrong. Number two, I got distracted many times because I've been utilizing my own family history for the sample documents and records. And so many repository sites and web resources are updating their information. And as I've gotten better at the process, I end up discovering something new or even a new resource. And then I end up spending 30 minutes on checking it out instead of the 5 minutes it should have taken for me to get on with the development of the lesson. Number three, if I hadn't gotten sick or lost some time due to the whole being sick, I could have planned better and I got off track and behind too much. In order to address the fourth question, what is the chance of finishing the product by the deadline? I would say, did you see I found my grandpa's World War II draft registration card from 1942? Oh, and look at that new family tree service provided by. Oh, wait, what is the chance of me completing my project by the deadline? I've never missed a deadline before, so I would say pretty good, or 99.9% chance that I will complete my project on time. And lastly, is there any concern or issue that may interest the class as a whole? The only concern or issue is the fact that the services seem to be updating or upgrading or even disappearing at a faster rate than ever, and we need to stay abreast of this fact so that we can best prepare for the task ahead. Thanks so much for your time and attention to my midterm debriefing. I look forward to your feedback, thoughts, and suggestions.